Stanford University.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Tia Rich, the founder and director of Contemplation by Design. It's my great honor to introduce our speaker today, Mimi Kuo-Deemer. Mimi Kuo-Deemer is going to teach us about movement as medicine, elemental Qigong for nourishing body, mind, and spirit. Mimi Kuo-Deemer is the author of Qigong and the Tai Chi Axis, Nourishing Practices for Body, Mind, and Spirit, and Zhuyang, the ancient Chinese art of self-cultivation. She teaches Qigong, internal martial arts, and meditation. She's a sixth-generation lineage holder in Baguazhang and once traveled the world as a photojournalist for organizations such as the New York Times, UNDP, and UNESCO. Since graduating from Stanford's class of 1994, she has lived and worked in China and the United States before settling in the British countryside with her husband and their dog, 3 cats, 6 chickens, and 60,000 bees. She champions the balance of playfulness and precision as the best way forward in life and never underestimates how sitting, breathing, and conscious movement grant the clearest and most compassionate perspective on the joyful, yet mysterious, messy, and unpredictable job of being human. We warmly welcome Mimi. Thank you for being here and being with us.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Tia. And it's such an honor to be here, particularly because Stanford is my alma mater. And I just feel a real gratitude to be able to share something with this community and give back. And I would like to share some practices today, but first I'd like to introduce some ideas and context that might help some of those who are newer to Qigong have a better sense of what it is that Qigong offers as medicine and why this type of movement is so healing. So for this, I have prepared a little slideshow. I'm going to bring that on now. Okay, so elemental Qigong is sometimes also known just as phases of wood, fire, metal, earth, water, and they're known as elements in the West, but you can also think of them just as a phase that shifts and changes. We're going to see just a little bit about what it is that Qigong can tell us about these phases. So what is Qigong? So sometimes it's just translated as cultivation of life energy. But in the characters here that I've shown you, Qi, this first top one, means life energy. It's comprised of a radical, meaning rice, and then the radical for steam, which suggests something is getting transformed that is nourishing for us. The second character at the bottom is called Gong, and the accurate translation would be merit or accomplishment. Etymologically, though, it's a beautiful character. The little image here on the left is to work, but the original meaning of this symbol is the carpenter's square. So if you've ever done any woodworking, you need a right angle for really clear things to shape and create your product. And a carpenter's square suggests the shaping and creating of our life energy. And then Gong also has this character on the right, which means strength, Li. The etymology of that, though, is a plow. And what I love about these characters together is if you thought about a plow originally pulled by humans, it would take steady perseverance to plow a field all day long, all season long. So Qigong really, to me, is this ability to shape and create or craft and shape life energy with the patience and steadiness and skill of what you would use to plow a field. So it's more than just working with life energy. It's really about shaping and crafting with that steady attention and patience. It also works with intention. In Chinese, this is known as yi. And just to know that where our intention goes, energy flows. And I'll show this when we start moving, how that can work. But energy and intention affect things like our blood and the levels of inflammation in our blood, which I'll talk a little bit in this presentation as well. So to give you a little bit of context as to what Qigong represents in Chinese medicine, it's one of the 5 pillars of Chinese medicine, the others being massage and acupuncture, herbs, and then feng shui, how you organize your space, geomancy. And movement is actually the first prescription in almost all Chinese medical texts. Most of the time, though, we don't want to do something ourselves to heal ourselves. We want someone else to do it for us. So it can be a little bit challenging to take this prescription and actually follow through with it. But as medicine, movement is the first prescription. And it's also the foundation of martial arts, Qigong. So I like to describe it as a practice that's at once medical, one of the 5 pillars of Chinese medicine, martial, all martial artists will do some sort of Qigong practice. And then it has a spiritual component. The easiest way to understand the spirituality of Qigong is harmonizing with the natural world, the oneness of all things, or Tao. So the oldest forms were known as the Dao Yin, which means to lead and guide the Qi. And this leading and guiding the Qi was really aimed at refining not only one's body, but its energy and spirit. In Chinese, this is called Xingming Shuangxiu. And the intention of Chinese medicine and Qigong really is to help us regulate the flow of life energy as it moves from nature through us and through us back into nature. Sometimes, though, this can get imbalanced. It can either become excessive, deficient, or if we're lucky, it flows more balanced like a mountain stream. And really, we're looking in Qigong to nature as our role model. You know, nature is responsive to seasonal energies that govern the natural world. And just like in a garden, you can have too much sun or not enough sun, too much water or not enough water, good soil or soil that hasn't been nourished with enough nitrogen or the right fertilizers. So just like the garden can become balanced or imbalanced depending on what resources and energies are present or absent, the same goes for us. And I really like to think of the body as a garden. And then imbalances are also in nature, and we can see this happening in the climate crisis around the world. And the problem really is, you know, it's hard to find balance. So in many ways, how we treat ourselves can be one step in the direction of looking at how we can really support and rebalance, you know, the energies in the world. And Qigong also works with this idea that we are not separate from nature. We're not in a dominant relationship to the rest of life. We're in reciprocity with it. We're one aspect of nature manifest in human form. So what happens outside of us is also happening within us and vice versa. We're the microcosm of the macrocosm. And just briefly, you know, some of the examples of how this is understood is through our organ and meridian system. And if you've ever had acupuncture, people will say, oh yeah, you treat certain points on the meridians of certain organs and elements. But what they might not provide, and what I really find valuable about Qigong, is understanding the connections between the seasons. For example, right now in the UK where I live, it's autumn. That corresponds to the metal element. which then relates to certain organs and meridian systems in my body, the lungs and the large intestine. There are also colors and emotions, other things like sounds and tissues and qualities and characteristics. But to understand that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm is to say that our organ and meridian systems can be balanced just in the way that autumn moves to winter, moves to spring, moves to summer, back to autumn. In between the seasons, there's earth. Sometimes in the late summer, that's also considered an earth season. And how does Qigong help? And as a form, a prescription in Chinese medicine, well, it can do things like help us feel embodied when we feel disembodied, dissociated. It can promote a balance of heat or cold. It can really help us ground our energy. And this is something that I found extremely useful. Especially when I went to Stanford, I felt very ungrounded, trying to get through my courses and finish my degree. I was working for the Stanford Daily. I didn't do Qigong then. And when I graduated and I moved to China, some of those imbalances just got worse. And it wasn't until later that I started working with Qigong that I really felt the possibilities of starting to feel a steadiness, less anxiety, stress, safety. Or more safety. They also work on our emotional level because of the associations with each organ and meridian system and an element to an emotion. And it can help things like regulate our sleep, our energy, the tendencies to be lethargic and really not really feel our thoughts moving, or the proliferation and excess of thinking. And it's a mind, body, heart practice. Just to say it, in Qigong, we really work with the balance of these mind, body, heart practices. And a lot of this is attuning to the connection between heart and mind, heart and body and mind. This is an image I love, just of our vagus nerve, connecting the brain, the heart, and the belly. This is one way in which there's lots of information and exchange that Qigong can really support. And it works with ideas of really steadying our root. As I mentioned, it grounds us. If we look to nature, we will stand for a moment in Wuji, which is really rooting. But if you look to nature, every beginning, every seed doesn't go up first, right? It draws down, it roots down into the soil before anything starts to rise up above the earth. So in that same way, in Qigong, we're really invited first to root our energy and go down. So I'll just give you some examples, like we'll stand in meditation like a post, which is very grounded and rooting. That will help really give us a sense of our body as a tree, which the ancient Chinese conceived of. Our legs are the roots, our torso is the trunk, and our torso's perimeter is like the canopy of a tree, or our hair, maybe, if we have hair. This will help, this rootedness can really help resourceful growth, right? So steady roots can mean we grow around obstacles, we have a lot of flexibility in our meeting of experience, like trees. It's just an example of another flexible growth of trees growing around the ruins of temples in Cambodia. And also strength, like bamboo. So we can, through Qigong, develop a sense of bending without breaking, which is what bamboo is famous for in China. It's used as scaffolding for buildings all over China. And then as a slow intention-based movement, it also offers us the capacity for steadier, deeper, nourishing breath. It also asks us to sink down, immerse ourselves in and down. Sinking sometimes has this connotation of like sinking assets, sinking ships, a little bit negative in English. In Chinese, it means chen, means immerse. And I love the character here. 3 little dots and 2 dots and a long line at the bottom means water. So immerse, flowing down like water does to the deepest places. And then there's also a little roof, which means inhabiting our experience. And then this radical meaning a desk. So for me, this suggests a scholar deep at work. So we can put these ideas together, and when we sync our qi, it's to inhabit an experience deeply and fluidly, to be immersed. We also learn how to relax in Qigong, which is very important. But often when we think of being relaxed in English, we collapse. Right? We collapse on the couch, or we relax with a friend over a tea, or if you drink wine, we sit and there's like kind of a slump. But in Chinese, song, relaxed, on the top here is the character for hair. And on the bottom here, the character for a pine tree. So to be relaxed in Qigong is to be like long flowing hair and upright like a pine tree. We'll see how that feels in an embodied way in a moment when we stand and do our practice. But relax is a very different thing. And then we find alignment or correct posture, which is also not just, some of you may know yoga, so it's not just where to put your foot or how to internally or externally rotate something. Zheng in Chinese, aligned or upright, has a character for the foot here at the bottom and sky. So it implies, how do we walk on the earth with our head towards the sky? What is our posture, our alignment through life as we walk our life, walk through the world? A very beautiful image. And then just a few more things that I really have found beneficial knowing about Qigong as medicine, as this movement medicine, is that there are a lot of studies on the effect of Qigong practice and Tai Chi practice as well on inflammation. So particularly, chronic inflammation can lead to a lot of problems in the body, and I've just listed some here: dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, diabetes. These are just a few. But because I mentioned intention is so strong, yi is intention. In Chinese, they say that mind, the intention, affects the qi, life energy, and the qi affects the blood. And there's a lot of studies now in the neuroscience world and mindfulness and movement, and they can track and measure mind to a degree, and then they can also measure blood. And what a lot of the studies are showing is that regular practice compared to other types of practice like running or jogging or swimming, it's showing that there's a decline in the inflammatory cytokines in those who are practicing Qigong and Tai Chi regularly. That's in the blood. And this is a real indicator of inflammation. That leads to improved immune function. And also they're saying that there's an on switch that's less active for the inflammation gene. So all of that is really encouraging for me to see the medicinal value of Qigong. So to conclude, like, Qigong is medicine, movement medicine. It helps us root our qi, ground our life energy. It helps us establish a sense of a relaxation that's rooted and upright like a pine tree and hair, aligned as we walk through this world with our feet on the ground and the head towards the sky. Helps us learn to move with intentionality. And this is really nice. It circulates the blood without taxing the lungs. I didn't really mention this before, but because of the slow, intentional movements, we don't get hyperventilated, or it's not a cardiovascular kind of aerobic type of exercise. But so many people, myself included, will feel very warm after doing Qigong. This is because it's circulating our blood, but without asking us to increase our breathing rate or heart rate so much. So we can use Qigong as a way to reduce inflammation and boost immunity. And most importantly, through the steady crafting and shaping of life energy with patience and steadiness and skill, we can transform the energy that is all around us. You know, it's not esoteric. There's chemical, electrical, geothermal, the same amount of energy is in the universe at the beginning as there is now. You know, no energy can be created or destroyed, only transferred. Okay, so our energy is being shaped and created through Qigong so that it can flow in more harmony with the energy of the universe. That is my introduction to practice. And there'll be some time now for the practice, and then at the end, we'll leave some time for some questions and comments. So I invite you to come up to stand, and otherwise you're welcome to join me in standing. The feet are about shoulders distance wide and turned straight. And then we'll rest the hands onto the lower dantian. This is an energy center like the base lake of the body or sea. And take a moment spreading through your toes, grounding through the roots of your feet and your legs. Also connect to a breath that feels natural. Our lungs are like the inverse image of a tree. The trachea like the main branch or trunk, and the many branches opening into leaves. And in our lungs, we also have the equivalent of leaves that bring in and transfer oxygen and carbon dioxide. They're called your alveoli. Just taking a moment, naturally breathing. And often Qigong can be challenging because our minds are a little busy. There's a little excess energy. Or it can be challenging because we feel quite tired and there's a deficiency of our energy. Some sort of imbalance, which is natural. It can happen everywhere, including in our own bodies. So this is how intention works. I'm going to give you an example. Release your arms and hands, and with your in-breath, lift your arms out to the sides and overhead. And with your out-breath, lower your hands in front of the face, middle fingers point towards each other, palms toward the earth. So it's just a nice feeling. It can feel releasing. You can do that again. Simply breathe in, lift the arms overhead, and simply breathing out, lower the hands down back to the starting position. Pause. So that's movement. It feels good. Now we're going to add intentionality to it. First intention is to gather with your hands and imagine your hands are moving through clouds. So nothing's changed but your intention. And then as you breathe out, move the hands down through clouds. And then change the hands to move through water. Imagine they're in a river and they move through water. It's a little bit different. And then they move back down through water. Where I live in the British countryside, in the winter especially, even now, it's a bit muddy, but it's kind of mucky mud. And just imagine, it's not caked mud, but runny mud that you can move your hands through. And mud. And then move the hands back down through mud. So the movement stayed the same, just the intention changed. Now what we're going to do is gather feelings in your body of imbalance, either excess energy, kind of irritation, impatience, restlessness, or lethargy, dullness, a lack, a deficiency. Either one of those, natural breathing, you don't have to keep breathing in here. Now, same movement, middle fingers point towards each other, palms face the earth. Clear some of those tendencies towards excess or deficiency that might arise or be present in your body. A natural breath. Doesn't have to match the movement. Now, please gather what feels like the capacity and opportunity for balanced energy flow in your body. That you can patiently, creatively fill balanced energy. Let it shape through your body as you fill. Hands floating down, filling. And then gather what you filled, this opportunity for more harmonious flow of life energy and vitality. And seal this in, like you might seal in a letter before you mail its contents. Sealing something in the refrigerator so it stays fresher. Sealing it in. And just let that complete. Notice how that feels. Now we'll do some warm-ups before we go into some of the forms for Qigong. And we'll start with some warm-ups to the feet. Because we're finding the roots being the legs and feet again. Just rock side to side on the feet. And you can continue just like this, natural breathing side to side. Just to say, at any point, you could do this seated as well. And you could also just do this side to side, sitting on a chair or a couch. Just mobilizing the feet a little bit side to side. And then start to feel as though when you transition over, you go down. So you're going to draw a little bit of a circle and up. Maybe lift your heels up. Maybe keep the heels down. Circle. I'll show you from the side. But if you were to lift the heels, you can lift them a little bit or more and circle over and down. You can also have the arms out to the sides to help with balance if that feels steadier for you. And one more circle this direction, natural breathing. We'll reverse. You can have your arms out, you can have them down. You don't have to lift the heels at all or very much. You're also welcome to lift them as high as it feels comfortable and steady. To do Qigong with the intention to nourish rather than deplete your resources and your energy. And also work to about 2/3, 60-70% of your effort level every moment, each practice. If you have injury, just work to 1/3 of your effort level. We'll do one more circle this direction. And then finish. And let the feet come a bit wider and release a bit through the joints of the hips. Imagine your tailbone, the bottom of your spine, can circle inside the edges of the feet. So you're not drawing a huge circle with the outer hips, focused a bit more in the center and inner hips. You can move at the rate and pace. Could be the same pace as mine, could be faster or slower. It's very important to start learning how to listen and trust the body's intelligence. Because we're so visually orientated as learners, especially on a platform like this, it's easy to mimic and imitate what you see me doing. But sometimes it's fine to do that. And other times it might be really nice just to listen to your body and not let your eyes or your brain and mind override what you're feeling in your body. In reverse, go the other way. So Qigong is really inviting us to get embodied and listen, respond to the body, not override the body with the dominance of our mind. So the intention here is hydrating your joints, not necessarily to mobilize so much as create good range of contact in the bones of your hips and your legs. So we create suppleness and hydration, moisture. And then release and finish, coming back to center. You can keep the feet a little wider like this, bend and soften your knees. And we'll do something for the spine. This is called arm swings for health, also called constant bear. The arms wrap gently round the front and back sides of the waist. As the name constant bear suggests, bears are quite grounded. So you keep the knees bent, center of gravity lower. Bears are quite furry. So as your arms meet your waist, let them land softly, padded. Constant bear rather than unreliable. So sort of a steadiness, consistency to the swing. So I'll give you an example of maybe an inconsistent swing. Right, that's not what we're aiming for, just a steady, constant, soft, gentle stimulation to the spine, organs. And then bears also have a very relaxed center belly. So it can be easy to tighten your abdomen and engage your muscles out of, maybe habit or things you learned in other systems of movement. And in Qigong, it's really important just to relax. Center belly, relax like a bear. And then gradually slow this down. Finding stillness. Notice how that feels. Might be some tingling. It's a good way of mobilizing circulation through the body. And then bring your feet back to about shoulder distance wide. And roll the shoulders. So inhaling them forward and up, exhaling them back and down. In Qigong, we often start with some joint mobilization exercises like this, as qi flow tends to get obstructed and blocked around the joints. So keeping healthy, mobilized, hydrated joints can help the flow of the energy and unblock things that might get rusted and corroded in our lives. So you can reverse that through experience or work or stress. Those gates, the joints can get us a bit stuck. We'll focus on the hydration here. Steady breathing. And finish. So interlacing the fingers. Come closer, you can see a clear image. We're just going to circle like this, circle the wrists. And change direction, circling the other way. And rest the hands then onto your lower dantian once more. Last is the neck and head. So lowering the chin towards your chest. If you have any neck injuries, really be gentle here and just take the ear towards one shoulder, roll it around to the other shoulder. Again, natural breathing. If your neck is okay, lead with your nose and reach, circling the head around and to the other side. You can do 3 circles. Reaching with your nose can help prevent compression in the places where the skull and neck join together. And then the other way, circling. And when you finish 3 each direction, release. And we're going to do 2 more things before we do some 5-element Qigong forms. First thing, it's called wild horse shaking. It's one of my favorite loosening exercises in Qigong. Show you from the side view as well. My knees stay fairly bent and my heels stay on the ground. I'm lengthening the crown of the head up and just letting the body from the center shake like a wild horse. This can be excellent therapy for relieving stress, the effects of anxiety, resets the nervous system. Very good for your lymphatic system, which is important for immunity. And as you do another minute or so, let the feeling be like a wild horse. So a captive horse would have a saddle on its back. Imagine your back very free, light, no saddle. And no belt or cinch keeping the saddle in place. So again, your belly and your waist soft and relaxed. No bit in your mouth pulling on the edges or corners of the mouth. So jaw, mouth relaxed. No reins or bridle, so the sides of your head and face relaxed. And then gradually slow this down until we come to the second form we'll do before we start our 5-element forms, which is called Wuqi. You saw a photo of it in the presentation, maybe. This is emptiness stance. We're standing like a post. And the intention here is to stand still just for a couple moments, rooted from the waist and legs and feet into the earth like a tree. The torso like the trunk reaching upward toward the sky. And then imagine the canopy of your tree, the scalp and the back, very open, the outer edges of your skin, your chest. And we stand relaxed like a pine tree or long flowing hair, which suggests space. Needles of a pine tree, lots of space. Hair growing from the scalp, lots of space. Also immersing Chen, sinking, energy rooting down, inhabiting our experience in this fluid way. And aligned, Zheng, between the earth beneath our feet and the sky above our head. And this is how we commence the forms in the form known as the formless form, Wu-Ji, emptiness form. Wu means without, Ji, polarity, without polarity. Stillness within the movement, movement within the stillness. So as you stand still, can you feel just the movement of breath and awareness? And then as you complete this form and start to move the hands back towards the lower dantian, within your movement, can you seek stillness? Hands come just in front of the abdomen. And they travel back behind the back body. Hold one wrist with the other hand. And circle the feet. So you just release those couple minutes of standing. And 3 circles each direction. Okay. So we will begin, hands resting back to the lower dantian. Any movement can be done seated that we do here. And if you do it seated, you just do everything except the feet. You do everything we're doing with the arms, but on a chair. Yeah. So we're going to do a practice that's really near and dear to me because it's the first set of Qigong forms that I learned. And they're the 5 element practices. And the order of the elements can be done in any order. There's a circle of them, so there's no beginning or end. But since most of us, I think, might be in the northern hemisphere where it is autumn, we're going to start with the metal practice, which associates with autumn. So the left foot, I'll mirror you, will step out. And as the foot steps out, you inhale the arms forward like you're gathering something. And then you bend the knees, hands from the sides of your chest, push forward, exhaling. Inhaling, you lift, knees straighten, hands retract back in. And then the left foot steps back to the right as you exhale the hands down. Same thing to the right, you inhale and step out, gathering what might nourish your lungs as you exhale. Press the hands from your lungs forwards. Knees bend, inhale, knees straighten, hands retract in. Exhale, foot steps back in as the hands release down. Inhale, gather. So the lungs are the main organ paired with the large intestine for the metal element. Exhale, hands forward. Inhale, in, and then stepping back, exhale. The lungs and large intestine, inhale, they represent a sense of inspiration, the lungs breathing in. Exhale, large intestine, letting go. Inhale, retract in. Exhale, hands down, foot in. Do a few more rounds. Inhale. So just like in autumn, you have qualities of autumn, inspiring colors, exhale. Also, time of letting go of contraction, shortening days, cooler temperatures, leaves falling off the trees. So all of these qualities we can also better align with and attune to in nature and in our own bodies. Exhaling. Allowing ourselves that opportunity to feel the nourishment that our lungs bring to our blood and our cells. Exhale, hands forward from the lungs. Inhale, releasing the arms in, letting go as the large intestine does. Exhale. We bring in nourishment, breathing in. We let out waste, exhale. We bring in what serves us, inhale. We let go of what no longer is needed, exhale. One more round each side, breath in. Bending knees, breath out. Metal also relates to good defenses, inhale and exhale. Good thing in the autumn, lots of colds, the flu is on the rise. So good, healthy defenses, exhale. And keeping out what is harmful, sort of in the gesture here. Inhale, hands in, and then we'll finish. Exhale, feet together, hands down. Step the feet apart and gather things that you feel nourish, inspire you. Fill with those, and at the same time, as the hands come down, you can let go of what doesn't nourish you, is no longer needed for you. Sending those things back to the earth as compost. Compost can grow into beautiful flowers. And then take a moment with the hands back on the lower dantian, full breath. And then we'll start with feet together again, hands down, and then the water element, which corresponds to winter. So for this one, same thing, the left foot will step out, and then knees bend, inhale the arms back, up, overhead. Fold as you exhale towards the earth. The hands on the backs of your legs, I'll show you from the back. Inhale and bring your hands up all the way along the backs of your legs. Make little fists and exhale, tap your kidneys. Open your hands as you breathe in and breathe out. Slide the hands down the backs of your legs again. Then come up the inner legs as you inhale, sliding your hands along the skin. And exhale, step the left foot back to the right. I'm mirroring you still here. Right foot then steps out as you inhale, open the arms back and overhead. Exhale, fold towards the earth. Inhale, hands up the backs of your legs. These are where part of your urinary bladder meridians flow. Little fists, tap the kidneys, exhale. Breathe in, breathe out, slide the hands down the backs of your legs. The inner legs, where you're tracing up, are part of the kidney meridian lines. Exhale, release, and step the foot back in. Repeat. Inhale, open, left foot out, arms up. Exhale, fold, bend the knees as much as feels good. Hands along the backs of your legs, urinary bladder and the kidneys. Exhale, little tap. They're the water element organs. Exhale, back down the backs of your legs. Inner legs, kidney, rising up. Exhale, foot back in. Right foot out, in breath, open. Out breath, fold. In breath up the backs of your legs. So kidney, urinary bladder, exhale. They're about fluidity, down the backs of your legs. Water is also about quietness, like winter, stillness, reflection. Exhale back in. These are qualities that open us to wisdom and insight. Inhale. Also exhale, full water. Beautiful quality of inner strength coming up the backs of your legs, breathing in. Exhale, light tap. Take an in breath. Down the backs of your legs, out breath. Up the inner legs. And then feet together, breath out. Water's about endurance. Right foot comes out. Getting through the cold winters, maybe not in California, but definitely here in England. Exhale down. Inhale, rising up the backs of your legs, tracing with your fingers. Exhale, light tap to your kidneys. Breath in, and then down the backs of your legs, breath out. Coming up the inner legs. And back to starting position. One more each side. Breath in and out. Rising up the backs of your legs, in breath. Nice stimulation. Exhale to the meridians. Breath in, and breath out, down. Can help their flow, their function. Inhale, which then can help us find more balance. Exhale. When water's in balance, we get these qualities of quietness, listening, wisdom, inner strength. Exhale. Out of balance, we can feel stuck, like we're in a swamp, or get a little bit fearful, unable to get out of the swamp, or too powerful, like a tsunami. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, releasing. Stepping the feet apart and gathering this potential for water's fluidity and soft strength. And it carves the canyons, Grand Canyon. You can fill with this fluidity and strength, inner strength, and clear out water's imbalanced tendencies of getting stuck, getting a little bit forceful, destructive. And finish with your hands on the lower belly again, taking a full breath. So water feeds wood. Winter becomes spring. So we're now going to do the wood element form. Feet together. Same thing with the feet. Left foot steps out. This time the hands trace part of your liver meridian, which comes up the inner mid thighs, all the way up towards underneath your ribs. Then gently press at the top of those, right beneath the ribs, the top of your liver meridian, external meridian pathway. Then the arms inhale forward as the knees lift. The arms release as the foot releases in. Repeat on the other side. So we're tracking the liver meridian with the fingers, inhaling up. Exhaling, gentle pressure with the heels of your hands down. Inhale like your arms wrap around a tree. And exhale the foot back in. Continue like that. So spring and wood energy is about expansion, growth, good vision, plans, dreams, lots of activity, flowers in bloom. And when it's in balance, you have this real clear direction and sense of purpose, expansion, good growth. You get creative and resourceful in the ways that you might meet obstacles that arise, that challenge your plans, stymie your growth, right? Trees are very resourceful, rooted, they bend like bamboo without breaking. But out of balance, wood energy can feel really frustrated when plans don't go the way they're supposed to go. Wood can get shouty and angry and or meek, unable to really move forward with any plans or stand up for yourself, and when challenged by obstruction. So we work with good balanced wood energy, orientating towards a sense of healthy growth. Just like the garden, you want to create good enough space for growth, the right conditions. This is part of what Qigong is offering, helping our conditions of energy flow feel more supported, nourished, and optimized. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Do one more each side. We tend to do between 5 and 9 rounds of these forms, but when I teach like this, it's hard for me to count the number of repetitions on each side that I've done as well. So I sort of ballpark it. One more round. Breathing in, tracing up the liver meridian. Breathing out, gentle pressure in and down. Hands release forward, breath in. And then the feet come back together, breath out. Stepping the feet apart, we can gather wood's capacity for healthy rooted growth, for resourcefulness and adaptability when meeting obstacles. And fill with those qualities, clearing out the tendencies for frustration, irritation, meekness, inability to act out on plans. These can be also let go of as you fill with wood's good qualities. And rest the hands then back to the lower dantian. Take a full breath. So wood burns into fire, helps fire burn. Spring becomes summer. The associated element of summer is fire. So feet are the same. This time, as you step up, bring the pinkies together. Inhale up towards the sky or the sun, which is the biggest fire in our solar system. Exhale down through the central line, backs of the hands together. Open your arms as you breathe in out to the sides, and then exhale the foot back in as the arms release. Same thing to the other side. You inhale and step out. You gather the buttery light of the sun. You let it pour down, nourishing your fire energy. Inhale, arms open, knees lift. Exhale, arms release as the foot releases. Continue like this, breathing in, gathering. Breathing out, putting into the body the warmth and nourishment of the sun, fire element. In breath, open. And out breath, return. So fire is the maturing of spring, of wood. Fire energy is really about connection, warmth, maturity, compassion, love. Inhaling, open. Exhaling together. Its main organ is the heart. The heart meridian is ending at the pinkies. Exhale down. Inhale, open. The heart is metaphorically like the sun of your body. Exhale down. So it is the supreme sovereign of the body, invited to rule and govern with joy that is calm and tranquil. You would be well off having calm, tranquil leaders in the world that we live in today. Right? If only calm tranquility, governing with authenticity, sincerity. These are qualities of the heart and balance, with spaciousness, generosity, with goodwill, compassion. Breathing and gathering this capacity for the sovereign of your body, the sun of your body, the heart, to rule at least your queendom or kingdom with that sense of good connection, warmth, authenticity, sense of generosity. And we want our ruler to make good decisions in a way that's not too overstimulated. So the heart doesn't like overstimulation. It likes calm, steady joy. Joy that is like a nice campfire. Gets us all connected, talking, relaxed. Breath in and breath out. Do one more each side. Inhaling, stepping out, lifting. Just from the side, it looks like this. Exhaling down. Inhaling, open. Exhaling in. Once more. The warmth and light of the sun to help you connect to a calm, steady ruler that governs with generosity and compassion. Exhale. Rather than a sort of ruler that maybe feels overwhelmed and anxious and overstimulated. So gathering the capacity for your heart to feel that calm tranquility. Filling with that. And also dissolving the tendencies toward overstimulation, burnout, nervousness. And then rest your hands back onto the lower dantian, taking a full breath. So earth is the next element in this cycle. Fire burns down to create earth. This one's a little bit more complicated, so don't despair if you've never done this before and you're a bit confused, but you'll pick it up. So the left foot steps out, both hands. Inhale up towards the sky, palms up. Now your top hand, the higher hand, stays up, bottom palm towards the earth. Exhale, bend the knees and turn. You're carrying a tray with the top hand. Inhale as you finish that turn. Then exhale the top hand down to touch the earth. The other hand open to the side. Inhale, both arms out. And then arms release as the foot comes in. Second side, right foot steps out. You inhale both hands toward the sky. And then the bottom hand, left hand, turns toward the earth as you rotate. Just like the earth turns, you can feel this turning. Take a breath in. And then the top hand lowers to touch the earth. Both arms out, standing up, inhaling. Exhaling, foot in, arms release. To the left, inhale. So earth is about steady transitions, govern smooth transitions. Exhale, bottom palm to the earth, top palm to the sky. Inhale first, then exhale, top hand reaches down, touches the earth, standing, arms out, inhaling. Exhaling, foot in, arms release. To the right, inhaling. And then exhaling, turn. Take an in breath. Top arm lowers, out breath. Both arms open, in breath. Foot comes in, arms release, out breath. A few more times, inhalation. So in addition to steady transitions, governing smooth transitions, exhale, take an in breath. Earth is also about ease and maintaining center. Balances opposing forces. Inhale, open and stand. Exhale, release. When in balance, inhale, lift. Earth feels really empathetic, no worrying tendencies. Exhale. Inhale, touch the earth, exhale. Arms open, standing. Exhale, release. When earth gets out of balance, though, it can't transform and digest everything. The spleen and stomach are the organs for earth. Take a breath in, turning. Take a breath out, top arm lowers. And when we can't process everything that we take in and try to digest, exhale, release. When we get worried, the tendency for earth is to overthink, overanalyze. Too much information is hard to digest, and it ends up being worry and burden. Can't balance the opposing forces and all the different responsibilities that we might have going on. One more time each side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, turn. But earth, when it's balanced and steady, inhale, manages all the different roles and responsibilities with more ease and steadiness and a sense of trust. Exhale. So hands lift, breath in. Exhale, top palm sky, bottom palm earth, turning. Take a breath in. Top arm lowers, touches the earth, which is our home, gives a sense of belonging. Inhale, open, and then exhale, release. Stepping the feet apart, gather earth's trust, steadiness, ease, the ability to balance all the different roles and responsibilities that we might have in our lives. And fill with this trust and ease, letting worry, overthinking, overwhelm settle in its wake. And place your hands back to your lower dantian. Take a full breath. Then release your arms. Stand for a moment back in your Wuji, emptiness stance. After the movement, what's it like to stand still? Can you feel the echo of movement in the stillness? 静中求动，动中求静. In Mandarin, within stillness, seek movement. Within movement, seek stillness. That's true movement. That's true stillness. 这是真静，这是真动. We'll turn the palms out for a closing form. Actually, change my mind. We're going to do a regulating form, bring the knees and the feet together. And at the end of the 5 elements, it can be really nice to do this. The knees bend, the arms rise, in breath, something symmetrical, and out breath, arms lower, legs straighten. Just 3 times, breath in, breath out. Once more, in breath. And out breath. And then we'll step the feet apart. This is called the closing form for peaceful qi. You'll gather your hands out to the sides and overhead. And what you're gathering is any benefit accrued that can be peaceful vitality, peaceful life energy. Use your hands to fill this into the form of your body. May this peaceful qi nourish and support your life. And may it also in some way nourish and support all life. And place the hands back to the lower dantian, sinking the chi, relaxed and aligned. Notice if the chi has been circulated through your body, temperatures, hands, warmth, anything, without taxing your lungs. This is movement as medicine. May this nourish you and nourish all life. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Tia, for, again, the invitation to be here and take part in this conference and summit. And I'll now make some time for some questions and comments.
Mimi, thank you for your beautiful instruction and the inspiration of seeing you practice the forms. It helps all of us to know what lies ahead and what we can do in our bodies. We do have several questions. The first is very precise about the water form, that in the chair practice, could you help someone understand about the sweeping down the back of the legs in the chair?
Absolutely. So if I were to do this on a chair, if I showed you from the side so you could see what my hands do, okay, I would inhale up and back, exhale down, come up the backs of the legs, but I have to skip where my seat is. I had to skip and come along the sides for a moment, come back to my low back, tap, take an in breath, skip where my buttocks is meeting the chair, but just pick it up again underneath the legs, go down, and then along the inner legs, and back in. You could even do the feet. You could step out a little bit, open, fold, up the backs of the legs, light tap. I'm speeding up a little bit, but just to show, down, up, together. Yeah.
Beautiful, very clear, thank you. Then the second question is about the tempo of practice. And as you just noted in your demonstration, you were, quote, speeding up a little bit. Could you help us to know what is the tempo that you're following?
I'm following, for this, I'm following breath. And everyone's breath is going to be a different speed. So if you're doing this and you feel that it's too fast or it's too slow, take an extra breath or two. Yeah. If doing it on your own and you like these practices, my invitation to you would be to really think of Qigong as a breathing practice with movements that complement the breath, or that it's a breathing practice and then the movements are secondary to the breath. But the breath, the lungs, they're really helping move and circulate energy, oxygen, glucose through the bloodstream. And if the breath is too shallow, the body is working a little harder than it needs to try to distribute that. It's not coming in as easily or easefully. And the nervous system will also struggle a bit. You know, if we just think of a tree and the photosynthesis that is happening at the outer canopy primarily, you know, our lungs are the inverse structure of a tree. And we also have leaves, like I mentioned, alveoli. And if we just feel receptive to the way a tree might not try to breathe, but just receive sunlight, and we too can just receive a very natural inflow of breath, a very natural subsiding of that. And it's deeply nourishing.
Thank you very much. The next question asks about the social component of practice, where in group through Zoom, and we have all seen groups of people in parks practicing Qigong. And then we also know that people practice individually in their own garden or their own home. Could you speak a little bit to the difference between group practice and individual practice?
Oh gosh, it's wonderful if you can do group practice. I think it is very commonplace in China for people to congregate in parks and practice Qigong. It's a very healthy community activity. Not everyone has access to going to China or practicing in parks or have parks nearby them or a community of people who will also want to do Qigong. So then you can create the community that you feel supports you. And there are some online. I've been teaching quite a lot since the pandemic online. My community, my brothers and sisters in Baguazhang, they're all in Beijing. So I practice by myself, but my husband sometimes practices with me. Mm-hmm. And so I quite like the discipline and the medicine that I feel that daily practice gives me. And I don't practice with other people. So my dog joins me sometimes, as do my cats.
Thank you, Mimi. Then we have a question about meditation in relationship to the Qigong practice. And what is your experience with doing meditation, seated stillness, breath-based meditation before Qigong or after Qigong?
I think they can work on either side. I have a really long-standing Buddhist meditation practice, and more I find how complementary the two are. Qigong can be thought of as moving meditation as well. Very good for discharging some of the mental activity that can, long after the thought is gone, it is still residing often as an energy in the body. And so movement of some sort that's intentional and non-striving can help to discharge some of that. I tend to sit first thing in the morning and then I do my practices, only because I feel that sometimes if I do my practices, I get so into my practice and then I look at the time and it's like, okay, no time, I'm not going to sit. But I would always want to make sure that the practice of sitting is primary for me.
Thank you for that clear response from your experience. We have another question about the precision of hand placement when putting both hands on the lower dantian. Is there advice as to which hand is on the body and which hand is on top of the other hand?
Yeah, so I get this question quite a lot because when I learned Qigong, I was taught left hand over right for women and right hand over left for men. But I learned this long before there was a lot more awareness and inclusivity around gender. And that was how I learned it. And I later then learned the complete opposite. So somebody who is also a very experienced teacher with a long lineage has said, no, the left side is yang because the heart's on the left and the right side is yin. So it should be right over left for women and left over right for men. And now I just feel like, you know what? The Tao Te Ching does not use pronouns. It is pronounless. It is actually the most intriguing book on many levels, but one of them being it was very specifically non-binary. And so I think to put which hand on top is what feels right.
Thank you for, again, locating the wisdom in the direct lived experience in the body. The next question is about frequency of practice. If one wishes their practice to be medicinal, what would the frequency recommendation be?
I would say consistency is more important than a periodic practice. But I'd also say a realistic consistency is better than an unrealistic goal. So it depends on each person. Some people will find 5 to 7 to 10 minutes a day is really realistic for them, given the busyness of their lives and how to fit something in. But if they do that 5, 7, 10 minutes every day, that will have far more benefit than if they do 1 hour in class or practice every 10 days or twice a month. The consistency is better, but a realistic one. So not just set goals that you won't meet, saying, I'm going to practice every day for 3 weeks or 3 months, 1 hour every day. And then you get to the second week and it's not happening, and then you give up. Rather than that, I would say, set a realistic goal for the next week. I'm going to practice 5 to 7 to 10 minutes every day, and then reassess and say, okay, I did that 1 week. Now can I do another week? And yeah, a really good amount of practice time, 20 minutes, 10 minutes is great. 5 minutes is great. If you have the time to do a full hour, that's great too. So it really is, I don't like to give too strong of prescriptions, because everybody's life circumstances is so different, and the expectations and sort of responsibilities we have to ourselves and to others is going to differ.
Thank you. For those who have been asking about how to learn more about Mimi's teaching, in the chat, we have posted her website, so you can follow up on her books and her classes there. We have 2 questions that are specific to conditions such as insomnia or depression, and whether the 5-element practice, as you demonstrated today, is a generalizable medicinal benefit for all conditions, or does one emphasize one of the elements according to specific, quote, pathological symptomatology?
It will not hurt to do a balanced 5-element practice. And in fact, it will probably help. And to also think of the body as all 5 elements always. We are always part of the whole. And I hesitate using the word element because it fragments the sense of wholeness. It's more phase. In Chinese, it's xing. It's an aspect of the whole. But you can also say, if there is a lot of insomnia, that can tend to be something quite heating. It can tend to bring up quite a lot more yang energy. So doing fire and practices that are heating is not disadvantageous to that. In fact, it will help to balance it, because it's about calmness, a calm heart, a tranquil heart, tranquil fire. But if you feel like there's excess of it, you might also do more water practices that will really draw in that sense of cool and softness and yin. And insomnia tends to be kind of keeping us up, and water practices will cool down and calm.
Thank you so much for being our teacher for this period of practice for several days, where we will have a reliable and consistent practice. Thank you, Mimi. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Tia, and thank you to everyone who's taken part today.